Welcome to Mixed Vibes, where we take a deeper look at all things holistic and healing. Before we start, please take a moment to subscribe to our channel. Welcome to Mixed Vibes. My name is Maurice Carroll.
And I'm Janice B.
And we have a hot topic today.
Yes, we do.
We really do. So we're going to talk a little bit about the trending topic of becoming a healer.
Yes. Let me get my tea.
When I see, should we be holding people accountable for what they're saying and doing, and, you know, just why is it a trending thing and all of that good stuff. But I think you had something for us before we get into that, right?
I do. It's the crystal of the day.
All right, let's get it.
The crystal, since we're talking about healers, the crystal of the day is apophyllite. Ta-da! I'm going to have you hold that for me. Mm-hmm. I'm going to hold this one. Is also apophyllite. So apophyllite is a great stone, especially for people who do energy work. It definitely resonates with the crown chakra. Mm-hmm. It brings in higher frequencies. It kind of fills you with light. It connects with spirits. It raises your spirits. So I'm going to give you the technical definition. Apophyllite is a high vibrational stone that will raise your spirits and open up your third eye. It works great with meditation and is a powerful aid to assist you to receive guidance from spirit, your ancestors, and the angelic realm. Mm-hmm. We need that, right? It resonates with the crown and the third eye, like I said, opening you up to a spiritual awakening, and it infuses your body with light and high vibrational energy. It's a great stone for energy workers, healing touch workers, Reiki practitioners, even, acupuncture, anybody who works with the movement of energy through your body. You usually see them in a rough cluster like that.
Like this one, yeah.
Yeah. But you can also see the points, and the little points, like the one I handed you out there, this one, would be like one of these that would come off.
So this came from a larger cluster.
Exactly. So I use it when I'm working on clients for the crown chakra. I'll put it up on their crown chakra while they're on the table. But you can carry them with you as well. It's just good to have that light around you as a healer. I don't like to call myself a healer, so it's funny that we're talking about this topic today. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's a good stone, I guess, to segue into the subject today, right? So why do we think that so many people are jumping on the path, and I guess in a way making this kind of a trend to be a healer?
Yeah. So
I know we've already broken it down.
Yeah, we have.
We've talked about this lots of times.
But it seems like more and more as problems arise and all of the commotion happens, that people want to be the center of attention, the go-to person that has the answers, or at least can point in the direction of solutions and things like that.
Yeah.
And more instantaneously, and I really kind of credit that to how social media and our electronic devices are set up. Everything is kind of
instant gratification.
It's really quick, and is trying to make you into a independent but still look at me kind of. Well,
and also, I guess, talking about social media, look at photographers. There's people who actually study photography, right?
Right.
And learn about the light capture and stuff like that, and go out and become a photographer. Then there's people who just pick up their phone and take pictures and start putting watermarks on them because suddenly they think it's a great shot, or someone's told them it's a great shot. Now they're a photographer.
Right.
Now they're trying to charge you for their prints at open mics and stuff
Right.
like that. It's like,
Right.
There's a little bit more work than that. I'm not saying you don't have that natural eye, but there is a skill level that's involved that you kind of have to do a little bit of studying when it comes to things like that. But that's the society. That's the way it is.
Right.
I think rewinding, when we say why are people wanting to become healers or wanting to get on the healing train, for a better lack of a better term, I think overall it's a general kind of awakening for people. And I think all of us go through that. So especially right now with the climate the way it is, the way the presidency, the racial climate, there's just so much going on. People are questioning everything that they've ever been told.
Right.
everything they've learned, their way of living is completely been turned upside down. And they just have this awakening that I want to do something different. I want to help, I want to change something, I want to be a part of change. And that's the good reason, I think. That's a good reason to, have this awakening that you want to be helpful and help other people as well as yourself.
And it's also like the need to be that.
Yeah.
Like, I
So that's
need
another
a
part of the list,
change.
right?
I need the change.
No, you do, really.
Right.
We do have,
Let's run the list.
yeah, we saw this list on social media, actually, and they listed the stages of spiritual awakening.
Right.
And I thought this was brilliant. It was a great list.
Yeah.
Do you want to
I
give it
got
number
stage
one?
one. All right. So it says, stage one, emotional rock bottom.
Hit the bottom.
An emotional emptiness where you question if this is all there is.
Right.
Complete confusion, pain, and frustration with life.
So whether it's personally, whether it's what's going on in the world, you are hitting the bottom of it. So you are ready to rise up and be different. New year, new me. I'm going to have a new attitude. I'm going to change things around. But you're at the bottom. This is the worst you could possibly be, right?
Right.
And it's like when people are in recovery, they have to hit the bottom before they can rise back up, right? So that's the first one. And we see that. We've all been through that. We've all questioned, why me? Why is this happening? What can I do? You're frustrated. Seems no way out, right?
So Les Brown has a quote that I like that speaks to this. He says, if you fall down and if you reach the bottom, try to land on your back so at least you can look up. If you can look up, then you can get up.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
That's
I like
a good
that
one. That's good.
So
The second one, the second step of the stage of the spiritual,
right.
the stage of the spiritual awakening is becoming aware. So you hit rock bottom, you're down and out, you're sad, you're going through something horrible. Now there's an awareness that comes out of that. So it's an awareness, and the list says an awareness that you have an ego, a voice in your head, plus childhood conditioning that has you living within behavioral patterns that no longer serve you.
Oh, just a heavy one.
That's the big one, though.
That's
I
a heavy
think it is heavy, but I think you hit the bottom. Okay, so
Right.
something happens that completely changes the way you look at everything, and now you're going to look at it from a different place.
Right.
And so whether it be a religious upbringing, rules, patriarchy, things that you
Culture.
were told, culture, you can't do this, you can't do that, you shouldn't be doing this. And then you're like, wait a minute, this doesn't align with the new me. This is not, these old patterns and things don't
Right.
align with the new me. So let me see what's next, basically.
Right. With that, I'm a visual person, so it's funny to me. It's when you hit the bottom, the awareness part is the ouch moment.
Yeah.
It's I hit the bottom and then ow, ooh, I feel the pain. Okay, I'm here. I'm aware that I've hit the literal bottom now, and so now my brain automatically goes to what happens next. I got to change something, and so in this pattern, I feel like you have to check what it says you have an ego, you have a voice in your head. I think this is a part where you have to start checking it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's in a place where it's like, okay, I hit the bottom, I feel the pain, I'm aware of where I am now. Now, what do I do? Do I cry out? Do I try to make a move? Do I sit here and assess?
Or do I keep hitting the bottom?
Right. Or do I just stay here? Yeah.
Because some people do. They don't ever come out of that pain and frustration.
Right.
They can't get out of there. That's their comfort zone, right?
Right. And with that, you had the childhood conditioning, and we talked about the behavior patterns. I think some examples of that, or without going into too many details, but some cultures are conditioned that once you hit the bottom, that's just where you are. And it's kind of frowned upon when you try to rise out of that conditioning. And so, hitting the bottom, like, I really think that being aware that you're there and being aware that you have a choice,
Right.
is
Well, and that's a part of hitting the bottom, I think, is that there are
Right.
people at the bottom
Right.
who want you to stay at the bottom with them.
Right.
So
Right.
it's a little bit of a challenge if you're an addict or someone who's, been in abusive situations. You are doing a lot of work to rise up out of that. It's not just like, hey, I'm hitting the bottom. It's this is where I live.
Right.
These are the people around me that all have to change.
Right.
But that's a part of the awakening or becoming aware, right? That's the step 2.
Right.
So step 3,
The hermit.
the hermit cocoon.
Cocoon phase.
Let me just, before we even talk about it, no, you know what? Talk about it first. Go ahead and
Want me to
you
read it
do this
first?
one. Yeah, you do
Okay.
this one. And I'm going to say why this is funny.
All right, so stage 3. Stage 3, we have the hermit. Cocoon phase. A pull inwards to spend time alone in reflection, questioning everything you've been told. A pull to learn all you can and avoid small talk, chaos, and draining interactions. The beginning of the birth of the true self.
All right. This step is the most important step.
I agree.
And
I agree.
we both know this is the step that a lot of people skip. They skip it altogether.
Yeah.
Let's give an example, shall we?
Yeah.
So basically what stage 3 is saying is that you need to pull back and re-examine, sit with your dark side, do this shadow work we
work,
talk
yep.
about. This is shadow work. This is, let me stop and look inward. What am I allowing to happen? What's my role in this? How does this make me feel? All that kind of work that people don't want to do because that's uncomfortable.
Right.
Step 3, the hermit phase, cocoon phase is not a comfortable phase. Okay, you can hit
Right.
bottom and awaken. And I'm going to stop doing this, and I'm going to do this, and blah blah blah. But you have to sit with why it keeps happening.
Right.
And we know, I know, and you know, a lot of people in healer world, in the energy working world, what this looks like is, so someone's gone through something, they hit rock bottom, okay? They become aware, or someone makes them become aware. You know, you don't need to keep going through this, blah, 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 blah. They have this awakening. They have this desire to change behavioral patterns and stuff like that. So instead of taking the time, meditating, doing the shadow work, talking to people who can help you, getting your own healing work done, studying, going through whatever if you're doing certifications, going through the process of actually doing the work and not just, wanting to be up here. They don't do that middle stage work.
Right.
And suddenly they went from crying and the rock bottom awakening stage part, that rock bottom becoming aware stage, to dressed in white, holding these big events with, sound healing and things they haven't even really done yet, and namaste, and now they're calling everybody queen, and they can suddenly heal the world,
Right.
but they have not done step 3.
Right.
And
Right.
we know they haven't done step 3 because the way you can tell is if you question them on it. So this person was working for UPS yesterday, and now they are a master healer, tarot expert. And you're like, well, wait a minute. And I'm not saying you can't, there's people that do multiple things, right? But I'm saying their whole life is different all of a sudden. All of a sudden they've changed their name and this and that. And they've completely skipped the work part, the
Right,
experience
right,
part,
right.
the pensive part, the part where you have to. So if you question them on that, that's when the triggers start coming out. They get mad, they block you, they,
Come up with a different reason or excuse
Yes,
as to why they don't need to answer that question.
exactly, and how could you do this to me? And that's really going back to the bottom again.
Right.
So if you skip stage 3, first of all, you cannot skip stage 3. If you
Right.
skip stage 3, you're going back to stage 1 at some point. And if you are an energy worker and you're taking clients and you're not ready, you haven't done your own shadow work, and you're taking clients and trying to bring them up from something, but you have your own things going on, all of you are going to go back to stage 1, in my opinion, because this person is putting trust in you,
Right.
people coming to your events are putting trust in you, and you're not ready. So they're all going to get dragged down to rock bottom. You're going to have to keep repeating it over and over again. You cannot skip stage 3, and a lot of people do.
And it's funny that stage 3 is in direct relation to why it's trending. It's because when they skip it, that's exactly how people, people go through it so quickly because they skip this step. And
They want the accolades. They want to be known as this master healer or master Reiki
But
master
if
or
they
whatever.
did step 3, they would understand how they probably wouldn't want that title.
No, you don't. It's you're constantly working on yourself, right? You're never above anybody questioning you or asking you about your certifications or anything. You know what I mean? You're not above that. So if you've really done the work, you can sit comfortably at stage 4.
Right.
So stage 4 is the rebirth. You want to give them the rebirth?
Rebirth. Stage 4, the rebirth. With expanded consciousness, you experience what it is to access choice beyond ego. You'll be pulled to show others how to do the same, which creates a ripple effect of awakening.
Right. And I think that that's kind of a glossed over thing. I don't think it's that. You're never like, okay, I'm reborn and I'm going to go and save everybody.
Right.
It's more about I'm in this part now where I see that I can help other people, but I'm still working on myself.
Right.
You never stop working on yourself.
Right.
Ever.
And sometimes you repeat.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you go back to stage 3, hopefully.
Right.
Hopefully you don't go back to rock bottom. I mean, we're human. Things can
So
happen.
it can happen, right.
To knock
Right.
us down. But I think once you've done stage 3, rock bottom is different. So, whatever it was before is not anymore. That bottom level is not as low anymore. It's a different bottom level. It may be, I don't feel like I know enough. Let me start over. I don't like we are kind of doing with Reiki right now. We're re-examining the things that we were taught, the things that are in the books that we have, and we're looking at them differently and coming up with things that we feel work. And it's kind of a stepping back.
Right.
You have to step backwards.
Exactly. Yep. The rebirth. So we have stage 1, emotional rock bottom. Stage 2, becoming aware. Stage 3, the hermit cocoon phase.
Most important one.
Right. And then we have stage 4, the rebirth. So after the rebirth, or I guess we could say while the rebirth is happening, because it kind of seems consistent.
It's a continual
Right. So
thing.
there's some self-healing.
Yeah, and that's kind of next on our list of
Right.
reasons why people get into the healing world anyway, right? So self-healing, taking your health into your own hands, looking for alternatives to Western medicine. That's a big one. Pills.
I'm on that one now.
I think we're all about it. Stress relief is a big one,
Right.
right? Lifestyle change. And it's twofold because as you feel better, you want other people to feel better.
Right.
And you want to share that with everybody. That happened to me with yoga. So when I first started doing yoga, before I knew anything about Reiki, before I was doing any crystal stuff, I took yoga. And it was right before yoga was super popular. Like it was popular, but not the way it is now, where everybody can do yoga. Back then, it was a challenge to, not saying it's not challenging now, but I'm saying it was not so open to everyone.
Right.
If that
Right.
makes sense. But once I realized just after a couple classes that actually holding my posture correctly, just sitting correctly, could change everything about me. I wanted everyone to know about it. And I was like, you gotta try yoga. And I'm like, I don't know anything about it, and I'm out telling people what to do. But I think that's a part of it. You feel better. Oh my God, I can help you. Listen to me, but they're not. They're just on their own journey. They're on their own journey. So
My example is of course through sound and music. Having my background in music, when I learned what frequencies and vibrations could do and how they could physically affect you, how it could make you feel, I learned okay, there were certain vibrations that I could listen to, and when I listened to it, it made a certain part of my body vibrate a certain way. And then I could have the headphones on and listening to a specific frequency, and then my lower back starts feeling better. And it was like, wait a minute, why are we using this?
Or your attitude just changes.
Right. And so once I found out that that could happen, I was ready to just tell everybody that it could happen before I really studied why it doesn't
Right.
happen, and well, you have to use it in this way, and what does
Try
this
this.
frequency mean? All I knew was, okay, you could listen to this and feel better. Listen, guys, this is what you can do, and I was
Yeah.
really, really excited about it. It was definitely a stress reliever. It was a major stress reliever. A friend of ours, she has a very sensitive hearing, and it was a moment where I found a frequency, and I said, "Listen, go listen to this with some headphones on." And I got the phone call back. She was in tears, crying because it made her feel so good,
Wow.
and it drowned out so much of the extra noise that she was so used to hearing. And, that was one example that I knew, the sound could do certain things.
Right.
But at the same time, I was still learning it and healing, using it to heal myself at the
Right.
same
You were
time.
going through all the stages.
Right, exactly. Exactly that.
No,
But-
that makes sense. Do you ever notice the other way that you could hear a certain song and understand why it makes people sad
Oh, absolutely,
or
yes.
why it makes them anxious or angry?
Absolutely, yes.
I was watching a show the other day, and I think I told you about it, but they were talking about whenever they performed this one song, and they always perform at big festivals. Whenever they performed this one song, the crowd always broke out into a fight. Somebody always got in a fight, and it was with the frequency they were using. It was something he was explaining. It's the frequency in the
Right,
song
right.
that it has that little agitation, like people just like,
Right.
which I thought was interesting because you don't think about that stuff. Well, you
Right.
do,
Yeah, I do.
but a lot of people don't. They
Yeah,
don't
and
think about it.
it's funny because when you get into that, sometimes people they try to blame a specific genre, and it's not just
No,
the
it's
genre.
definitely
It's
not.
it's definitely what frequencies and everything that they're using. So I know it's self-healing is
Well, and also sound healing's a whole other show. Like we could do a whole
Oh,
show
yeah.
on just
Oh,
sound
yeah.
healing, which we probably will.
yeah, we definitely
We
could.
probably will. So, okay, so we've talked about the reasons people jump on it. A general awakening in society, right?
Mm-hmm.
Self-healing, that's the other one. And the last one, I guess, is because it's easy, right? And, well, it shouldn't be easy.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
If you're doing it correctly, it's not easy. But by that, I mean a lot of holistic modalities, crystal healing, Reiki, all the energy work healings, except for anything that's actually you're giving somebody herbal medicine or acupuncture, anything where that you're actually puncturing a skin where you have to have a license for that. Most of the modalities are easy to get involved with. It's
Right.
not, you just
Right.
find someone and take a class and you get a certificate and you're done, right? So most holistic modalities do not require a license
Right.
to operate. Different states are different. If you're working in hospitals or with hospice, they may have certain guidelines and rules you have to follow. But for the most part, you can go online and get a Reiki Master certificate. You
That
can.
one disturbs me. That one so disturbs me.
So the people who skip that third stage, to skip the cocoon stage, to skip the self-work stage, can go from the awakening to just getting their certificates and healing the world, right? That's the thing. It's that ego. It's that Messiah or Savior complex. It's, I know more than these people do. I am here to save you.
Come see me. Come
Right.
listen to me.
And you're the only one
Right.
that can do this. And
Right.
we've seen that as well.
Yeah.
We've seen that as well.
Yeah.
We've also seen people, because it's easy, and I think we make it look user-friendly. I don't want to say easy. One of the things I wanted to do when I started teaching Reiki was to make it so that people did have access to it. It wasn't just a certain type of person that had to take it. Anybody can use it in any way they want in their life. It doesn't have to be a teacher or whatever. Or you don't have to take clients. You could just use Reiki for your own personal use. But I think some people take that as they're going to do what we're doing right now. Right now. And they have come into our healing circles and tried to take over. You know what I'm talking about, right? Because we make it look easy, but we've done the work, and we're still working.
Right. Yeah.
And yeah, I think that there's a lot of that. That's ego. That's an ego-based thing that you want to, or it may not be a negative thing. You want to be a part of something exciting. You want to be a part of a change. You want to be a part of helping people.
Right. And, that's the good part of it, because the intention is right, and a lot of people get stuck on the intention, and they put themselves in a place where they're like, oh, well, I believe this is the right thing to do, and I really want this person to feel this way, and I really want to help these people, not realizing that step 3 that we keep referring to.
Right, exactly.
And, it's a lot to be said about that,
Yep. We deal with that a lot. But I think a lot of people get caught up in the looks of it.
Right.
So, because it's easy.
Right.
But truthfully, if you're doing work correctly and you're going through your stages of self-awakening or whatever, you're hanging out at number 3. You're in that cocoon phase for quite some time.
Right.
And you can still move forward while doing that work. And you're not going to be so quick to, dress the part, speak the part, and you're going to actually have the experience behind it.
Right.
That's our hope.
That's the hope.
That's the hope. All right, let's flip it around. We talked about why people want to become a healer, right? We talked about stages of awakening.
Right.
But let's flip it around from the other side and say, if you're interested in doing healing work, we don't say healer, I don't say healer, but if you're interested in becoming a person that does healing work, a Reiki practitioner, a holistic practitioner, what can you do to ensure that you are following the correct steps and maintaining integrity in your practice and in your own personal work?
Right.
Because that's the key, really, is your integrity. People can see that oozing out of you if you don't if you don't have it, right?
Right.
If you haven't done the work. What's the first thing, Maurice?
The first thing, and my favorite thing, is to study.
Yes.
I can't tell you how many times I want to take people, and it's not just in our modality, not just in the holistic world, but just in general, just the first step is always to study. With what we're talking about, is specifically and more importantly the first step, because you don't want to get out there and just randomly start doing things and you don't know what it is and how it works, or you've done something like you Googled it and you've taken Google's word for how, something works. Google says, oh, you meditate this way, and you took that as law and word, and that's the only way that you have, you've done it. Also, oh yes, finding a certified teacher.
Right.
Someone in person, preferably, that you can learn from, bounce questions off of, have some type of interactions, build some type of rapport and relationship with. And I'm saying it that way because I know that there are some courses that you can take online and pay a minimum amount of money, and there's no interaction. And so you're walking away with a lot of assumptions, and you have unanswered questions, or a lot of different things can go south, and so for me it's like, find somebody that is certified, that has a background, and then you take that step and get certified yourself.
Yes. And you might get certified again. You may want to try it again. You may want to take the class again, right?
Right.
One thing that I feel also we have to kind of give people the benefit of the doubt. People, when we talked about going through the stages of awakening, so they're going through these stages, they encounter people who are doing things they think they want to do as well.
Right.
And they follow them.
Right.
Because that's the person who does it, right?
Right.
So, for example, when I started doing Reiki, I knew people who did it. The person I learned from, I had a Reiki session from before, and I liked her, and I resonated with her. And luckily, she was very much about, purity and doing things correctly and examining things, and so I got good training. But if you had that person in your circle that didn't go through all those steps, you're following them.
Right.
So
right,
what
right,
happens
right.
is you follow them incorrectly, and then
Right.
you realize later, like we said, you hit rock bottom. You have an awakening, right? And then you have to do the work again because you didn't learn correctly the first time or whatever.
Right.
But that can happen to anybody. So it's really, we have more knowledge now, I think. There are more people doing this work. And you want to go with people that when you encounter them, you feel good about what they're doing. Okay, I see
Right.
this person. I've had people come to me that I don't even know. They didn't ask for my certificate or anything, but they know I've taught these people and they know I have these clients and they trust me on that integrity
Right.
of my word. So they feel good about me. That's a big deal, but you
It
should
is.
still be able to ask me for my certificate. You should ask me who trained me, what kind of Reiki I do.
Right.
You have to do the work. There is no shortcut to studying. There is absolutely no shortcut. You have to go back and question things and read the book you're given. You absolutely can
Right.
get certified as a Reiki master in 2 days if you really wanted to. I mean, not by me,
Not by me either.
but you certainly can. But you still haven't done the work. You
Right.
still haven't studied. You still haven't practiced. And that's a big deal.
And the other thing is that I know from the outside looking in, it may not seem this way, but the studying never stops.
No, absolutely not.
Like, and you always have to make sure, like, whatever modality you decide to specify, and this is going to be my area. Even if you only pick one area, the learning and the studying never stops. And I kind of cringe when people position themselves because they didn't do that stage 3, but it makes me cringe when they feel like they have all of the answers and all of the direction.
And they're done.
And they're finished.
They're the
and
expert.
they just know it. They have their halo and they're on their way. So I think making sure that people understand that the studying is consistent. I know a lot about music. I know a lot about frequencies and vibration, but I'm still studying it. I'm still learning something else. Things always develop.
Right.
And,
Take time to explore what's new and study new materials.
Right.
You don't have to necessarily practice them, but learn about them. That's every job, really.
Right.
If you're a hairdresser, you're not going to stay with the same cutting techniques your whole life, or you're going to have unless you have the same kind of clients all the time. You got to learn new techniques. There's new ways to do things with
Right.
music, with production.
Right.
We've encountered producers or engineers who are using this archaic systems and bragging about it, and you're like, step up into this century. So you really can't stop. You're not the best. You have to keep working. There's always somebody who knows something different, and hopefully you're learning from other people as you go, right?
Right.
All right, so study's
there's-
number 1.
Yeah, so I know we're getting ready to move into number 2, which I'm pretty sure is your favorite. So number 2 is, drum roll.
Slow down. I'm doing this. Slow down. Slow down. Take your time, practice your craft before you claim expertise over it,
Yes.
right? Work slowly, building a client base that brings results and integrity and word of mouth. Word of mouth is everything, especially in energy work, because like we said, there is no licensing. A certificate is really just a certificate. It doesn't necessarily mean you're the expert of everything. It just means you completed this course, right? But people notice, like we talked before, people will notice if you're working, at Target one day and then suddenly you're low down. Take your time, practice your craft before you claim expertise over it,
Yes.
right? Work slowly, building a client base that brings results and integrity and word of mouth. Word of mouth is everything, especially in energy work, because like we said, there is no licensing. A certificate is really just a certificate. It doesn't necessarily mean you're the expert of everything. It just means you completed this course, right? But people notice, like we talked before, people will notice if you're working, at Target one day and then suddenly you're seeing something you haven't learned correctly. You can actually do damage, It's like, especially if we're talking about, witchcraft and dark arts and things like that, you need to know what you're dealing with. You can't just Google how to do something and then be summoning things. You need to,
Right.
people, it's an insult to people who have been practicing for a lifetime of paganism or whatever their family does, hoodoo and voodoo, whatever. You need to be real and true to who you are and not try to be something else. Don't compete with people. Do not claim titles that you have not earned. People do this all the time.
So look, with that one, that claiming titles thing, I can speak to that one from my personal experience because even after I got certified and I had the papers, I had the certificates, it still took me a moment to say out loud to whoever that I am this or
Right.
I've been certified in, and even past that point, with the experience that I have with music and sound, I've had other people tell me, "Oh, you're this and this with sound." I still don't claim, I have a lot of trouble claiming sound healer.
Well, you're still working.
And
You
and I'm
still work
still
on yourself, too.
right. I'm still learning it, and I'm slowing down, and I'm still studying, and I'm keeping that integrity. So much so that when I am in that practice, I'm transparent. Say, well, no, I don't know this, but I do know that.
Right.
And
Or
that
just, I don't know. Let me find out.
right.
What do you know
Right.
about it? That kind of
Right.
thing.
Right.
Also, don't compete with or condemn other practitioners. So, we've talked about examples of people, we're not naming names or anything like that. We're not condemning people, but competing, like I will always tell people, I do not compete with my students. I do not compete with
Right.
other practitioners. And I roll in a circle of metaphysical workers who are the same way. So when my Reiki master decided she wasn't going to take on any one-on-one clients anymore, and she probably wasn't going to teach for a while, she refers everyone to me, right? If I'm not doing a class and you are, I'm going to refer people to you. I'm not going to try to hold them, make them wait for me because I'm competing with you. And you don't speak bad about other people that are in your circle. We're all connected somehow. Even people who are not doing the same modalities that we do have referred people to me or said, if they don't do, maybe they don't do Reiki, maybe they do something else. Because we move with integrity and we do the work and people know that, they feel comfortable referring somebody to us. And that's the benefit. So you're not going to miss a client, you're not going to miss a sale, you're not going to miss a student. You just need to move with integrity and transparency, and those people will come to you. Those situations will come to you. I think a lot of people, I've been to festivals where they've had like a Reiki table up, or there's different Reiki practitioners there at their tables, at their booths, and people are really coming over and trying to talk to your clients and stuff, and I will not have any part of it. I completely shut it down. Go ahead and just take everybody you want to take, because if they're going with you, they're really not for me anyway.
Right.
And I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. So that's a part of being open and having integrity and knowing that you've studied and knowing you're walking this talk that you're speaking.
Right.
So you don't have to worry about competing. You don't have to worry about that.
Right. So
It's a big deal.
you mentioned with people if they're going to follow that person, they're going to follow them. That's for them. What if you're one of those people? You're looking for said healer, said practitioner. What are some of the things that you can do to assure that you're
making a good choice?
finding the right one for you,
Right.
the right practitioner?
I like we said before, the most important thing in this business is word of mouth, right? So go by word of mouth, ask around, ask for recommendations. If you don't know anything, if you want to try Reiki, you don't know anything about it, ask people who you know get Reiki sessions or have taken classes and what they have to say about it. People will tell you the truth usually. People are very quick to tell you, don't go to them.
Right.
Or go here or whatever. So definitely word of mouth is a big deal because you're trusting somebody that you trust anyway. So they're going to give you a good recommendation. Or maybe you know them in a different capacity. Maybe that's your acupuncturist. They don't do Reiki, but they know me or they know you, and that's how you find. We're all connected in a circle, so we all know what's going on.
Right.
If you ask us. That's the first one, I think.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
I would say asking questions, like same thing. I guess it kind of fits in with word
This
of
is
mouth.
my favorite.
Asking questions is your
Yes.
favorite? Go
Yes.
for it.
It's because, you can get word of mouth and then you can get directed to said practitioner or whatever, said counselor, said producer. And that person that you asked, it might have worked, but if you don't have a conversation, you don't ask questions, that practitioner may not be a good fit for you.
Or they may not want to answer your questions, and then you'll know that
That's not
that's
for
a
you,
problem.
too.
Yeah.
Right,
How long have they
right.
been practicing? What's a session like? What's a class like? What's involved? How
Right.
long have you been doing this?
Right.
Who have you taught? Who are your clients?
Who taught you?
Yeah. And can they provide proof? I know I asked somebody in the circle, not our circle, but in our area, because I saw them posting about being a Reiki master or something, and I didn't know. I legitimately did not know this person had ever done Reiki, studied Reiki, or anything. And I innocently asked, "Oh, when did you get certified?" And they went off on me. They went off. And I was like, "Whoa, wait a
Yeah,
minute, are we guilty?
I had a similar situation.
Are we a little guilty?"
where
Perhaps.
I asked someone who had a following, well, has a following, and I said, "Oh, well, where did you get your certification?" Well, I didn't need a certification, but this is my life's calling to blah, 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 blah. Like, well,
Maybe it was the same person.
okay, I'm gonna fade into the bushes
Yeah.
and fade back and let you do your thing. But, that's something that when questions like that are asked and they have that response, and if I recommend or if I have recommended someone and you have that same reaction to them, whatever your response is going to make that person feel a certain way,
Right.
right? And so, coming from that perspective, what would you say to someone where the client is going to a practitioner and they didn't quite like the way that practitioner felt, but they were recommended and that practitioner answered the
Right.
questions, like, what would you say to that?
Well, that's my number one thing in life is go by how you feel. How does the person, the class, the students, whatever, how does it make you feel? And your intuition is so big, your gut reaction to things. You may have heard great things about somebody, but they make you uncomfortable. There's something about them that you're not comfortable with. Do they seem like they aren't genuine? Go with your instincts. And truthfully, in defense of people who say, I don't need a certification, that is true. Okay, that's true for some things.
It
So
is
like
true.
I've been intuitive my whole life, and you know that I can tell you things about yourself that there's no way I know, and that's something that comes naturally to me. But I do not go out and say that's who I am without some reflection, without some work on it. And I shouldn't get offended if somebody asks me, did you study this? No, I didn't, other than the work I'm doing now. I have not gone to like the Lisa Williams, whatever. They have academies where you can go
Right,
and learn,
right,
and
right.
it's awesome, but I have not done that. And that's why you don't see me out calling myself a psychic, because that's not the main thing I do. It's a part of what I do. But you should be able to ask me. I should be able to answer you without getting an attitude like the person has with us when we've asked. And I shouldn't make you feel some kind of way about asking me that question. So
Right, right.
hopefully you go by how you feel. That probably should be your first thing, but I guess you need word of mouth to find somebody. And then, well, how do they make me feel? Or,
Right.
we've had plenty of people in our circles, both music and healing world, who call themselves something, give themselves a title as a healer, and then you see them out and or their posts on social media or them on the microphone are just spewing this hate for people, or they're racist or whatever it is. And I'm like, you're calling yourself a healer, but your actions are not in alignment with who you say you are.
Right.
And this is who you are. Whatever you see these shows like where they do like the reality TV, or people get caught doing something and they're like, that's not who I am. That is who you are. It may not be all of who you are, but that's who you were at that moment, and that's what people remember. So if you are walking the walk of a Reiki master, that's a lifetime commitment.
Right.
It's a life walk. It's not, you're not namaste on Tuesday and then calling somebody names on Wednesday. Not saying that, you're perfect or anything. We're human. We all make mistakes and we all get angry. That's not the point. The point is you should not be completely the opposite of what you say you're doing.
Right.
In your actions. So definitely how people make you feel. Go by that for sure.
So talking about how you feel, your instincts, your intuition, your feelings.
It's time for you to school us on something.
Yeah. So here we are with keeping your balance, how to keep balance, how to keep your balance. And I wrote some notes down because I know that I can go off on a tangent because there's so many things that I can speak about. But I got some notes here, and I'm going to start. The first thing we're going to talk about with keeping your balance is connecting to Earth.
That's a basic thing too. That's the thing people always forget
It's so
about
basic, but a lot of people don't realize, they don't connect. It's concrete jungles everywhere. You're inside.
You're busy. You're in a hurry. I just want to be balanced now.
Right.
I have an app for that.
So, being connected to Earth, like going outside to a park, taking a walk, take a deep breath in a natural environment. And it doesn't have to be, you're driving several minutes away. It could be you walking around the block and just walking in the grass for a moment and taking a deep breath in. I don't want people to think that it has to be so, it doesn't have to be so regimented and deep, where you have to go and do certain things.
It shouldn't be deep. It should be simple.
Right. And the benefit to this is that there are some physical benefits to it where it lowers your heart rate, which a lot of us need because it keeps us calm. It regulates your blood pressure and things like that. And then I wrote this one as well, promoting vitamin D intake.
Everybody's big on vitamin D these days, right?
Right. A lot of us have that deficiency, but so taking this walk and getting connected to Earth is something, that it strengthens your immune system,
And being aware, like just walking outside, looking at the clouds, the sky, just taking a minute to put your face up off of your phone.
Right.
Whatever you're going through at that moment and just pause,
Right.
People joke about tree huggers, but really touching a tree, the first thing people tell you to get balanced when you're out of sorts or you're all in your head is take your shoes off and walk barefoot on the ground.
Right.
Touch a tree, look at the sun,
Right.
Watch the clouds, the simple things.
So yeah, I'm going to leave it right there because I know with keeping balance and connecting with nature is something that we both can kind of run on with.
Absolutely.
But we can do this. We can leave information for people to contact us.
Sounds good.
And
We can
they
elaborate.
can ask some questions and we can elaborate and, take some points from there.
Definitely.
But for now, I think we're out of time.
All right.
I heard my computer jumping off, so I think we're a little out of time. So thank you for joining us. This has been Mixed Vibes. I am Maurice Carroll.
And I'm Janice B.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Mixed Vibes. If you liked this episode, remember to subscribe to our channel. You can find us on social media at The Healing Flame Collective, and you can email us at thehealingflamecollective@gmail.com with your topic ideas. See you next time.